Hi there, welcome to our podcast. I'm Donna Davis.
And my name's Tam Cassidy.
And our podcast is called The Unknown Podcast because we haven't got a clue what we're going to be talking about. Well, we do, but you had the idea, didn't you, to call it The Unknown Podcast?
Yeah, we thought we'll call it The Unknown Podcast because we couldn't think of a name. And obviously as well, we talk about so much all the time, as you'll get to know if you watch our podcast, that we couldn't actually home in on one thing to actually do a first showing.
Yeah.
So what we found was that was actually stopping us from doing the first show.
Yeah. I know, because we were trying to get a name, we were trying to get some subjects to talk about and try to get started, and we just kept putting off, didn't we? For months.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to be, we were both on the radio at one point together, and a lot of people were saying after they listened to us, you two should do a show together.
Yes.
And so we thought, we'll do this.
Why don't you say a wee bit about who you are?
Who am I? So I'm Donna. For the viewers. For the millions of viewers.
The millions of viewers out there.
I'm Donna, and what do I want to say about myself? I've got 3 children, mostly grown up. Youngest is coming up for 16, two others at university, and I've got a couple of businesses that I run, and I've gone back to uni and I'm doing psychology, and I'm nearly finished that, thank goodness. And I do a radio show on a Wednesday night, 6 till 8. I'm going to plug it. Forth Valley Radio, 6 till 8 on a Wednesday night. Just get us online just now. We're going for a dab, but online at the moment. So that's me.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I am Tam Cassidy, and I'm a dad of 3 wonderful kids as well. 2 are a bit older, like my best pals now, and I've also got a grandson and a granddaughter on the way, and I've got a tiny wee toddler of a daughter who's 4 years old. And in my life, I'm what's called a cultural learner and advisor. One of my big passions in life is culture around the world, especially Indigenous cultures and people around regions of the world who were especially affected by historical British colonialism. I'm also a writer and a musician and vocalist and happy guy. And
we need to talk about your book at some point as well, because it's really good.
Yeah, if you want to read my book, it's called The Memoirs of the Square Peg. I myself am a square peg. Memoirs of the Square Peg. So there's a soundtrack to go with it as well. But we won't do too much plugging just now. We won't put you off. No. Yeah.
Well, we'll get on with what we decided to talk about, and that's procrastination.
Yes, because that's what's happened today. So we could have done this weeks ago, and we decided, we couldn't think of a name, and we couldn't think of something to talk about. We knew we wanted to do this, and we knew that we do talk, and we do talk anyway.
We don't shut up.
We don't shut up.
We really don't shut up.
We don't shut up. So we decided, look, all that's stopping us from doing it is just trying to home into this one thing. So we said, right, we'll just start from not knowing the name of the show. Maybe you can help us with that as time goes on. And the topic should be exactly what we're talking about today. And I mean, for us, what we've discovered is in life, and most of the things that we've done in life, and when we talk about things that we do as individuals and when we've worked together, is that I think it's Lao Tzu says that a marathon. I'm shaking that. That was the me trembling.
You're attached to a table that we're shaking.
So a marathon starts with putting one foot, taking the first step, basically putting one foot in front of the other. So we're taking that first step today, and we're going to talk about that issue of procrastination. Why do we procrastinate, Donna? Why does it happen? Why do we talk ourselves out of just starting something?
I know, all the time I do it. So for me, I don't know. It's the task that I'm procrastinating doing is always worse in my head than it is when I actually start doing it.
Yeah.
And then when I start doing it, I'm like, why did I not just get this done? So a really good example of this is at uni. I've got an assignment that's due in the 5th of September.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had months to do this assignment, months. And I've just put it off, and I've put it off, and I've put it off, and I have started it, and it's actually fascinating. I'm having to do a bit of research around it. It's all around services that are offered to the transgender community.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a service review on that. Fascinating, finding out an awful lot of stuff. Really enjoying doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Why did it take me maybe 3 months to get started?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I identify with that a lot, and it can be stupid things. So it can be anything for cleaning the house, really. Yeah. You say, I'm going to get the house done. I'm going to do that. You say, you can talk yourself out of it. It can be joining a gym. It can be anything at all.
I know.
And you talk yourself out of it for some reason.
I know. So what are we doing? It's like we're sabotaging ourselves.
It's like you sabotage yourself.
I've googled what does procrastination mean.
Okay.
And I've lost it.
I always thought procrastination didn't sound like it actually is. It sounds like it's something else. It sounds like procrastination. If you got caught procrastinating, it sounds like something you would get to jail for. So I always felt.
That's another word. Right, so procrastination is the habit of delaying an important task, usually by focusing on less urgent, more enjoyable and easier activities instead.
Yes.
It also says it's different from laziness, which is the unwillingness to act. Procrastination can restrict your potential and undermine your career.
Yeah.
So it's not laziness.
No, it's not. I think it can undermine your life, really.
Yeah.
It can undermine your life. And there's so many things. I'm trying to think. There was one recently that it was really, and it's you're talking about uni.
Yeah.
And it was really about, I was trying to change courses.
So you were, yeah.
So every day I say I need to make sure that I phone up about that. I need to talk, I'm going to change the course. But for some reason, I would always just put it off. But it's because I always had this idea that when I phone up, I'm going to go through a rigmarole. I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to do this. And so you talk yourself kind of out of it. I'll tell you a cracker. I don't know if you've got an iPhone, but if anybody has lost their password and they need to reactivate their password or anything like that with Apple or whatever, to get in touch with them,
nightmare.
It's a complete nightmare. I remembered it being a complete nightmare years ago when it happened to me once. So I kept putting it off. Yesterday I phoned up and the guy was brilliant, and it took about 15 minutes and that was it, and in 3 days I'll have it all back. I've put that off for about 2 weeks.
See,
I put it off for about 2 weeks because I imagined, so it's things we imagine, isn't it?
Yeah, we kind of build it up in our heads, don't we, to be bigger than it is. I know, well, apparently there's 4 types of procrastinators. I've learned something about myself.
Right.
Hang on to go on. I need my specs on, I can't see.
Which kind of procrastinator are you?
What kind of... So, there's 4 main types of avoidance archetypes or procrastinators. The performer, the self-deprecator, the overbooker, and the novelty seeker.
Oh.
Right. I've no idea.
I recognise a lot of you, the overbookers.
Yes.
I think we come across a lot of overbookers. If it's not you yourself, and I think I've been there before, I don't do that now. But I think you do come across overbookers, eh?
Yeah,
they cancel at the last minute. Can I do it? I can't make it. Not going to do it.
So I still do it. I'm just trying to find the part in this that tells you what they are. But the performer who says, no, this is me as well. I work well under pressure.
Yeah.
You do that as well.
Yeah, if you've got a week to do something, you get it done. If I've got months to do it, it'll not be until there's a week to do it that I'll do it.
I know.
You're rattling the table.
Am I? Oh, right, sorry. So I am. So the performer says, I work well under pressure. This procrastinator forces themselves to focus by shrinking the time they have to tackle a task. So that's just what I've done, isn't it? On my service review that I have to write. I could have done it in 3 months and done it at a leisurely pace and got it done, but you know something else that's just come in my head? I always think I was the person in the exam hall during my exams to the very last minute. So I might have been sitting like a maths test or something like that, and I'd maybe get through it and have half an hour spare, and I would watch people leaving, and I'd be the one going, oh, they're leaving, I might be finished, but I'm going to check my paper and make sure everything's okay, and I would check and check and check to the very end. And I think it's that mindset of you have to use all the time you have, otherwise it's not good enough.
Yeah.
So it says here as well, it says here, for many of the real reason behind this is perfectionism. And I would never have said I was a perfectionist.
Perfectionism.
Does that resonate?
But does perfectionism mean that you need to get it perfect? Does it mean you're worried that other people might not see it as being perfect? Do we try and present things in a perfect way, right? Because we're wanting other people to see it that way. because we know nothing can be perfect.
Yeah.
And we know ourselves, we never complete anything 100. You know, you don't
No.
do everything 100%, you never do.
Mm-hmm.
I think this perfectionist kind of thing is more about, funny, it's probably another topic, but I think being a perfectionist, is that no more around the fact that it's how you want to appear to people, how you want to present what you do or who you are to people?
Yeah, that's interesting. Who do you want to be?
Because you're not perfectioning something for yourself. You're not perfectioning. You're not
You've made up a
making
new
some.
word.
That's a new word. You see that everywhere now. But the fact is, you know, people say they're perfectionists, but do they really mean that is that for yourself? Does it make you feel better, or does it make you feel better because you're displaying to people that you do things really, really well? Is it more about how you're wanting others to see you?
Yeah. Maybe I know that.
So we procrastinate because we're worried about, and that in terms of that, we're worried about making sure that people see it the way we want them to see it.
Maybe.
It's perfect. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So are we doing it to get validation from other people?
Yes, that's it.
Or are we doing it because inside we feel like we want to be? I think for me, so I'm really annoyed just now, right? Because if I do anything, and I was kind of, I think I always try my best at things. If I'm going to try something, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. So throughout the uni course, I've given it 100%, you know, and I do procrastinate, but when I start getting my head down, I know that I'll produce a half decent piece of work. I just know I will. And I'm 1.5 marks off of a distinction, and it's really annoying me because I've 1.5 marks off of it is like, I could have got a distinction if I could just have squeezed a bit extra out. But at the same time, I know that I couldn't have given any more of myself to that course.
Yeah.
So I have to be happy that I can look in the mirror. I say that to my kids. You know, when they've been sitting exams, I'll say to them, months before, I'll say to them, look, whatever you decide to do in terms of studying, I would love you to study, but it's up to you. But then I go, but just think on the 8th of August when that bit of paper comes in and you open it, you should want to look in the mirror and go, I tried my best.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter really what the result is, it's just the fact you've tried your best. So I think for me, it's about, I want to feel I've given it my all.
Yeah.
And I want validation for other
people. So if it was just a pass or a fail that only people seen, so if the rest of the world only saw it as a pass and a fail, would you worry about the extinction? Or would you say, there, you can have it now, I've done it, they say, well, there you go.
No, I would want it.
So that's perfectionist for yourself.
Aye.
That's for yourself.
Yeah. I would still want to know that. Like, you know, I was talking to some mums of kids during the exam season there, and they were saying, oh, you know, wee Johnny, he's not going to really bother with, you know, geography and history because he's not taking it a higher. So, and that's fine. No, I wouldn't be like that. If it was me and I was wee Johnny, I'd be like, I need to do well in them all. I need to do my best in them all. I couldn't sleep at night if I just left something that was being measured. Yeah.
But I can see how being a perfectionist would make you procrastinate. I can see that. I can see that. I've never thought of that
Neither
before.
have I.
I can see why that would be motivation, if you like, funny enough. To make you kind of say, well, I can't do it yet, it needs to be done absolutely 100%. When actually what I'm saying is, like, sometimes you could just do things at 80%, you'll get it done.
I know.
Rather than wanting to do it 100% and never getting it done.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's what we're doing now.
Yes.
And this is me. I was nervous, wasn't I?
This is live. We're actually overcoming procrastination as we speak.
But I was nervous before coming on, and I think now you're saying that is because I was like, but we don't have all our ducks in a row.
Yeah.
We're not ready.
So what kind of procrastinator am I then? Because I wasn't bothered.
Yeah.
I'm just like, let's just do it.
You were like, let's
do
it.
But I was procrastinating before. So what kind of procrastinator am I?
Right, let us see what the next one. The self-deprecator who says, I'm so lazy right now.
I'm alright with being lazy anyway.
The overbooker who says, I'm so busy.
What's
the next one? The novelty seeker who says, I just had the best idea. Now, what does that mean? This procrastinator has a terminal case of shiny object syndrome.
Yes.
Right, so
Aye.
they're constantly coming up with new projects to take on and then getting bored with them a week later. They're intrigued by the latest trend and will be quick to implement but not follow through.
Actually, I think I can be that, but I don't think I do finish things.
Yeah.
But I do it. There is a part of me that I want to start something off. I like to think that I have a lot of ideas, good ideas. I'm creative by nature, but I like to hand them over and go and do something else. So I like to start something. So if I was working in an environment where I had a team, I would tell the team, here's my idea, and let them go on with it and move on to something else and tell another team. That's what I would like. That's my ideal scenario. And in a way, that's what I like about my work, because I can meet people in indigenous cultures and learn from them, pass that knowledge on, and then go and learn from somebody else. And I like to keep it fresh all the time. So a novelty seeker is probably a bit disparaging, but it's definitely I definitely like
a big word there.
disparaging.
Yeah, shiny objects, and I think I've got a bit of that as well, actually, because
I think we all have it.
Yeah, you see something that you think's better or more interesting, and you go, oh, just go and do that.
So is that why I'm single?
Probably why we're both single. We jumped to bed earlier, just waiting on the sidelines. Yeah, maybe. We need to do a podcast on that.
Let's not go down that avenue just now.
No, we've exhausted that before we came on.
Yeah. Okay.
Talking about love lives. Yeah, so I lack thereof. Yeah, so shiny object syndrome. The whole laziness one definitely isn't ours.
No. And I think for me as well, I procrastinate a lot if I'm not going to see an immediate result. So if it's something that I know is going to take a while, something you're going to start something and say, okay, so this will take. So by 3 months you'll have finished this. It's like, oh god, right, okay. It's hard to get started. Yeah. And it's that thing about a marathon is run by taking the first step.
Yeah.
But this is one of the things that I'd like to highlight today and talk about today as well, is that procrastination, whatever it is usually based upon a myth. For me, it's based upon a belief in something that's actually not true. I make up things in my head, so I think, well, there's no point in doing it because, or that'll happen. And there was I think it's Herbert Spencer, he has a quote, you might be able to find the quote, the full one, but he says, there is a bar against all progress, and I'm paraphrasing here. Herbert Spencer says there is a bar against all progress, and it is contempt prior to investigation. And that's really interesting for me, because what I think he's meaning there is, putting something down before you actually do it. And that's a form of procrastination for me. I'll no bother giving that person a phone. I'll no bother putting in for that job, because what's the point? In a way, that procrastination can come for that as well. You'll not do it because of what's the point?
I know.
What's the? I'm not gonna write that book. Nobody will read it. Yeah. I'm not gonna do that podcast because nobody will listen or watch it. I'm not going to put in for that job because they'll not be looking for somebody like me.
Yeah. And
I think that's the kind of self-defeatist kind of thing that can cause procrastination as well. And this is we're doing the live show here. This is what you're doing. When you see this, will not be live, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We're like real.
Live the room.
We're real. It's live to us just now. We're like real people, right? So
yeah, we're a shaky table.
Yes, real water, and stuff. But basically, the idea is that we're trying to show is that actually, if you just do it.
Just do it.
And my good friend Tommy Caldwell, who I'm going to see in Australia in a few weeks, actually, him and I have a saying, and it's all about that. It's about just doing things. And we say, if you do it, you'll do it, and if you don't, you won't. And there's never been a truer sentence than that. If you do it, you'll do it, and if you don't, you won't. And sometimes it's just about stepping into the unknown, just putting your foot forward. It doesn't matter what's going to happen. It doesn't matter if it's not going to work. Just do it. Just go. Just do it. And you know what? If we do this podcast and it doesn't work out, so what?
I know.
It doesn't matter.
I know. Because we've even got the whole oh my goodness, I wonder what people will think, I
Well,
wonder if people will judge me, I wonder if they'll laugh at me, I wonder if they'll think that, and actually, so what?
Who cares?
Who cares?
I don't care.
What if it works out? What if it's amazing?
What if it works out? What if it's great? Yeah.
And what if we help somebody to realise they're doing something that they could maybe do differently?
And so what if we don't?
And so what? Because we haven't realised how.
We're having a talk, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
We'll learn for this and we'll be one step further
Yeah.
down the road of presenting a podcast.
Exactly.
It doesn't really
and
matter.
you have to, everything in life, I think you have to start, just take imperfect action.
Yeah.
Just start it. That quote?
There's the quote.
There you are.
So Herbert Spencer, there is a principle which is a bar against all information, which is proof against all argument, and which cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance and a woman. This principle is contempt prior to examination.
So you keep yourself stuck because you're telling yourself stories before you've even started the thing.
Yeah.
And we do it.
Keeps you in ignorance. Because you don't try, you don't put that foot forward, you don't make that phone call, you don't apply for that job.
I know.
You know?
Did I tell you the story about how I got into the radio?
No, you didn't.
Well, I tell you.
Go for it. And even if you did tell me, you can tell
I
them.
can tell everybody else. So it is a good example of this, getting out your comfort zone and not procrastinating any longer. 2019, ironically, because 2020 happened and we all know what happened there. 2019, I decided if my life looks the same as it looks right now, I'll go crazy, right? I just was what I needed change. I'd already gone through a big upheaval with my marriage, and I was maybe 2 years down the line with that, and I just wanted to change my life. Anyway, I hired a life coach.
Yeah.
So I hired her in November, and she told me to do this exercise where I was just to, there was a lot of different things she did, but one of the ones was about writing down a kind of bucket list type things, just things way out what you would think about, what you would want your life to look like. And anyway, one of the things on my list was I wanted to present a radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Where that came from, I don't know. It's just funny how if you clear the space, things will come to you, all about meditation and all that. So I thought, oh, that's weird, don't know where that came from. Left it, and then started meeting a friend, Natalie Gary. You know Natalie from Stirling, don't you?
Yeah.
Started meeting Natalie on my walks up the hill. Natalie was on Stirling City Radio at the time, a presenter. Started meeting her, and she goes up the hill a lot, I go up the hill a lot, but we didn't bump into each other that much. We really didn't. Started bumping into her. Then I went on a business gateway. I was in seeing something, starting up a business, and I was going in seeing business gateway about the stuff to do with it. And the woman just said to me, she went, Donna, if you're not doing it, and there's 16 people booked in a course through there, and about half a dozen of them haven't turned up, do you want to go on it? And I said, oh, what is it about? And it was about, can't remember. Anyway, it's probably about procrastination or something like that. She said, go and join in. Anyway, so I went and I joined in, and the lady that was taking the course, you know that way you know somebody's voice?
Mm-hmm.
I know her voice. How do I know her voice? And at the end of the whole session, she hands out her business cards, and her name's Lauren McQuaid.
Alright, no Lauren.
You know Lauren, and I go, ching, 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 ching. At that time, Natalie was on the show every month with Lauren. So Natalie and Lauren were on the radio, and you know, we believe in the universe sending us opportunities and different things. And I go, oh my goodness, you're Lauren that's on the radio with Natalie. She comes on your show, doesn't she? Yeah, we get chatting. And then I sat and I thought, I'm going to ask Lauren how you get into the radio. I'm just going to do it. I had this gut feeling I should ask, and I asked, and I got a show, and that was it, and the rest is history.
There you go. And that's because you took the first step.
And it's because you took action, isn't it? It's all about taking action.
We always talk about this. There's a great book by a guy called Wallace D. Wattles, which is called The Science of Getting Rich. And although don't be confused by it, or don't be, it's not just don't be put off by the idea it's just about getting rich and making money. That's not what the basis is. What it's basically saying is that we have control of our own destiny. We can bring into your life whatever we want to bring into your life. And one of the things he speaks about is desire and he says that desire is a divine message, basically, that if you have a desire for something, then you can get it. You can get it. He says that desire is possibility seeking expression, and I absolutely love that.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
So if you think about it and you take it into your life and you decide that desire is possibility seeking expression, what he's saying there is that if you have a desire, that means there is a possibility that you can get it, whatever that is, because that's why you've got that feeling. And it's true, because when you have that kind of feeling of a desire and you start to work on it, so you might say, right, so you get a book to find out, wow, could I do that? I'm interested in doing something. And you get a good feeling, you go, wow, I'll do that. And then you say, oh, I'll contact them, they do it. You see a number on the website and you speak to them and they say, oh, come in, I can help you with that. And you start to get really enthusiastic and you start feeling good about it. And that's really, so what I'm trying to say there as well, if you have that feeling of desire, don't procrastinate because you're worried about how am I going to do that or how might that happen. If you have a desire, like we have to start a podcast, just do it. Because, and this is where we talk about the stuff of the universe, where, if you have that determination, or if you have purpose in your mind, or what does he call it? He says, I'm trying to remember.
What Walter D. Walters?
Yes, he keeps on saying it, the doing things in a certain way.
Oh, in a certain way.
He says, if you do things in a certain way, we were listening to the audio book, and he keeps talking about doing things in a certain way. And we're going, what certain ways is he talking about?
We kept waiting for him to tell us.
But what he actually means is with certainty, doing things with certainty. Don't worry about how you're going to do it, how it's going to happen, what it's going to turn out like. If you have a desire, do things towards that desire in a certain way. And we both bear witness to the fact that if you do that, things start to happen for you. The people, the places, the environments, the resources come to you to help you towards achieving the goals or the purpose that you want. And that is a definite, because I've seen it happen in my own life, and I know that I've seen it happen in other people's lives as well.
Yeah.
And that's a reason not to procrastinate.
Totally.
Just do it. Just go and do it. Step into the unknown and see what happens.
I know. Everything's on the other side of fear. That's what they say, isn't it? So
and feel confident in the fact that if you have that desire, that it's okay to go for it.
There's something giving you a sign,
divine.
Isn't there?
What is a desire?
I know.
What is a feeling? What is it?
Aye.
Where does it come from?
I know.
It doesn't come up there. You didn't think of desire.
Feel it, don't you?
Feel a desire.
Yeah.
You go, I'd like that.
Yeah, and you get excited by the thought of it.
Aye.
I know.
If you see somebody you like about it, you don't go, it's not a think thing, it's a feeling.
Yeah, you get out of your head.
If you see a job you like, if you see, you see your team score a goal,
I know.
It's a feeling you get.
I know.
You don't
and
have a thought about it.
When we were talking about doing this, we were both saying to each other, I've got a good feeling about this.
Aye.
So,
Aye.
yeah.
I didn't say I've got a good thought about it.
No, you don't. You say I've got a good feeling about
Thoughts
this.
are different.
So, yeah, we have to be, that's another thing, it's a whole other podcast about being tuned into your body as well. I've only just learned how to be aware of what my body's telling me, my feelings.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're laughing because we both love the Beatles. We both love the Beatles. Who doesn't love the Beatles?
Yeah.
And there's the Word is a song on the album Rubber Soul. Say the word and you'll be free. But there's a bit that Lennon says, now I know what I feel must be right. I'm here to show everybody the light.
Yeah.
But it's just that it says, now that I know what I feel must be right. And I kind of identify with that, because feelings tell you everything, So what we're saying here is, if you have a feeling that you've got that something wants to do, take it as a divine push.
Yeah.
Take it as it actually means something. Have a bit of faith, blind faith if you like, to move forward and do it. And watch what happens.
What's the worst thing that could happen?
Worst thing that can happen is we didn't do the podcast.
And it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Something
but
happens.
When does it not work?
I know.
And Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich, he says that we never actually fail, we only give up. And actually it's true.
It's true. Yeah, I don't think there's any such thing as failures. Anybody fails. The only failures are the ones that just do nothing and sit back and then criticise everyone else. And so
fail in a desire. So I could say, well, I'm going to go to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The chances are I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I've not got the desire. Really, it wasn't a desire.
Yeah.
Right? But you talk to people who go to the moon. They'll
Yeah.
tell you they always had the desire to go to the moon.
Yeah.
Right?
They knew
Aye.
that they were going to get to the moon.
So if those people can do it, they started off just being born as normal human beings as well. There's nothing more, there's no any more special than that as well.
No, I know.
But they had definite purpose.
They did.
They knew what they wanted
And
to do.
they did it in a certain way.
This is what they should be teaching in school.
I know.
First and foremost,
100%.
to have a definite idea of what you want to do and what you want to be.
And teaching them all the things about go within. Go within, it's all there. Go within and find, listen to yourself.
That's another podcast, isn't it?
That's a lot. But we've got loads of podcasts sprouting out of this podcast, haven't we?
So the moral of the story is, it would be great
Yeah.
if what we have done
Yeah.
by taking that first step today, not really having a clue what we're going to do.
No idea.
No idea.
My hands are heated
The
up.
unknown podcast with the unknown topic that we started talking about procrastination.
Aye.
We overcame procrastination, and because of that, we did our first podcast.
We did. Do you think we're finished?
Do you think that?
I think we might be finished. I think that's enough for one day.
I think we
isn't
might be
it?
finished for good. But
Well, so one a week I think we're going to do, haven't we?
one a day, one a week, just now.
Yeah.
But people, I mean, so we're going to put this up on YouTube, as you'll see,
Yeah.
and you should be watching this on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We need people to subscribe.
We
People
do
can give comments.
Like, share, subscribe. Yeah.
We would like you to tell us what the unknown podcast could be called.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
and any
should it stay that?
any kind of subjects that people want to hear us chatting about. We do chat about really interesting things all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we think it's interesting.
We think it's interesting. Like, and if you're still listening now, then you're worse than us.
Yeah, we do blether a lot.
We do.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's great. So tune in. The next time we'll get another one up in a week's time.
Yes.
And that's it, isn't it?
That's us.
Right. Well,
So from
go and press that button.
from Donna and Tam on the Unknown Podcast. Cheerio, bye.
Thank you very
And
much. Are you doing it?
see you soon.